Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is October. You know what that means? That means hockey season is right around the corner. The season starts October 13th, I believe, on ESPN, which is awesome that it's back on ESPN. So, you know what that means? It's time for a Way Too Early Playoff Predictions. One of my favorite things to do every year. And I usually don't record it, and if I do, I don't remember. But I think it's time for my Way Too Early Playoff Predictions. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. I don't know how long this is going to be. I don't know how short this is going to be. Let's do it. So let's start with the Western Conference. We're going to start with the Pacific Division. This is a division that's completely up in the air, to be honest. I don't think there's even like three solid teams. Okay? I think there's some pretty good teams. All right? And I think there's one really good team. We all know that that's the Vegas Golden Knights. Okay? I think they're a little bit shorthanded on goalie. Obviously, they don't have Marc-Andre Fleury like they have had in the past. But they have Robin Lehner, and Laurent Brossoit is a pretty good backup goalie. I'm not going to deny him of that. The biggest issue with the Vegas Golden Knights is who the hell is going to score for that team? And if they eventually do get scoring, they got to make sure that that keeps up throughout the playoffs, right? That did not happen last year, right? They could not score against Montreal, and that's due in part to Montreal being able to shut them down. But after the biggest concern I've heard for Vegas is that Chandler Stevenson is their first line center. I think you could put anyone in between Pacioretty and, oh god, I don't remember who the other guy is on their wing. Is it Stone? I think it's Pacioretty and Stone, and you'll be fine. Quite frankly, I could play between them, and as long as I can pass, they're going to put the puck in the back of the net. So, I don't think that's as much of a concern. I still think Chandler Stevenson's a really good, solid player. At the trade deadline, though, I think they're going to go try for a number one center from a team that is definitely in the doldrums, a team that's just not doing it. So, we'll see what happens there. I think Vegas is going to finish first, and that's the first one on the board there. Second place, I'm having trouble between Edmonton and LA. Which I think are going to be, and ultimately going to end up being the two other teams that get in is Edmonton and LA. Edmonton didn't fix their goalie situation again. They still only have Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen. Now, maybe I'll be wrong on this, but I think Mikko Koskinen's going to have a breakout season. I mean, he has to, right? And if he doesn't, obviously they're going to buy him out of his contract or something like that, or they'll try to bury his contract or something. Because, I mean, even if they put him on waivers to bury his contract, I mean, no one's going to take him. He'll probably just end up back at the KHL. I think Koskinen, I think he has potential to be a good, at least backup, like a pretty good backup. Mike Smith is aging. That's a concern. I think they did bolster up their defense a little bit. Duncan Keith, I know, is old, but he's still a solid defenseman in terms of, like, leadership on the defense. I think he can provide a lot of defensive leadership. I know that, and kind of bring the defense core together. I still don't think they're great defensively. I'd have to pull up their roster to really remember who's on them. But I think, and with Zach Hyman joining the fray on offense, they got a shot for the number 2 spot. I mean, it's kind of hard to not. It's kind of a trash division. The Pacific Division's awful. And then, I think in third place, I'm having a hard time between LA, Calgary, and Vancouver. The Kraken can also maybe be there, but I don't think they're going to score that much. I think they're going to win a lot of 3-2, 1-0 games, the Kraken. But that's beside the point. I think that, I don't know. LA has improved vastly on offense. I mean, they added Victor Arvidsson. I mean, that in theory should be enough, right? To really get it going. Especially if he plays on the line with Anze Kopitar. Victor Arvidsson's good for 30 goals if he's healthy in the season. And that's the big if. That was the big if the last 2 seasons with Arvy. is that he just wasn't healthy. 2 seasons ago, he took the cross check in the back on the ground from the guy in the Blues, and he just hasn't been the same since. I really hope he gets to form. Because if he gets to form, I think the Kings have a really good shot at third place in the division. I still think their defense is solid. And with the confidence Drew Doughty has going into the season, and how much he wants to be on that Team Canada roster, he's going to come with it this year. I think he's going to have a great season. Anze Kopitar is an amazing forward, and they're just a good, young, fascinating team. It's a little bit different than the LA Kings that we're used to, but I definitely think they can get on that third spot. Calgary, they should be hungry. I mean, I don't know what else to say about them. They should be there, right? Like, why shouldn't they be making the playoffs? I think that, what's his goalie's name? He used to play in Vancouver. I don't remember his name. It'll come to me. But I think he'll definitely rebound this season. I'm sure they don't have Redick anymore. But, I mean, I think they're solid otherwise. They have really good offense if they can get it going, and then they have to get it going in the playoffs, which is something that they've not been able to do at all, really. Since his core has gotten there, and this is the last chance with the core. I think Johnny Gaudreau is out at the end of the season. He's gonna be playing for a contract, whether he stays in Calgary or not. So I think that they could potentially have a really good season. If they're gonna miss the playoffs, I think might be by 1 or 2 points. And then Vancouver, again, same situation. Why shouldn't they make it? Khudobin is their back, not Khudobin. Markstrom. That's the Calgary goalie. That's who it is. He'll have a bounce-back season. Halak is there this year. He's going to be backing up Demko. I think that's a really good, solid goalie tandem. Their defense is decent. Maybe OEL can make a comeback this year. And they got a little bit better on offense. And they got their players to stay. Sure, they're not going to start off the season like this, but I think they have a really good chance to make the playoffs as well. But it really depends on how much of a hit they took last year, morally. I know it was tough for them to come back. I know they're missing Travis Hamonic. I don't know if he'll come back. Michael Furland, I think, is probably done for his career. He's not going to come back, at least not this season. But I think they've gotten some decent replacement players. They got rid of all the bad contracts that they signed, most of the bad contracts that they signed to Arizona. And like I said, they got OEL. Maybe he'll have a comeback season. Maybe he'll be what Hughes needs on the back end. So I don't see why not. But I think ultimately I'm going to give that third spot to LA. So in the rundown, and I said the Kraken, they could make it. I don't think they're going to score all that much this season. I still think they're a little bit lacking on the forward side. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I think they're still a decent team. They're going to be very hard to play against because they have a big, heavy defense. But who knows, really? Realistically, I think they could make the playoffs, but I'm not going to bet my money on it. So in the Pacific Division making the playoffs, I have Vegas in first, Edmonton in second, and LA in third. Do you like movies? Do you like spooky movies? Fantastic. Well, I got this show for you. Real shit, only on Wolfgate Entertainment. This month, we'll be reviewing Halloween movies and spooky movies. Yes, we have the horror movies for you, counting down to Halloween, which is just a lot closer than you thought it was. So, don't forget to check out Real Shit, coming this October. Let's move to the Central Division, my Preds division. Let's start there. The Predators are being slept on majorly. Do I think they make the playoffs? I don't know. I think 5 teams from the Central Division to make the playoffs. I think they're going to take both the wild card spots because the Central Division is just so good and so competitive. It is a tough division. Ultimately, I think the Predators will either barely make it or barely miss it. They're going to be in that the second wild card spot. And they'll have to take on the team that, you know what? We'll get to the Predators soon. We're going to go back to who I think is going to come in first, and I think this is really a no-brainer. It's Colorado. Colorado's going to come first in this division. They're too good to not. I mean, Francouz is unfortunately out for the first part of the season. He got injured, but I think they still have who is their goalie? Because Grubauer left. At least they were able to re-sign their captain, Landeskog. But they have a dynamic offense. They have a dynamic defense. Really, the only concern is goaltending still. I mean, it's been like that. And they have to be able to play against defensive teams. I mean, which they'll get plenty of practice with the rest of the division, with definitely with Nashville and Winnipeg, who still have solid defenses. But I think they're gonna just annihilate this division regardless of how difficult it is. They're gonna be in first, not by a ton, but by a marginal amount. I think they might even win the league. Second place. This one's a little bit tougher to call, but I think Winnipeg is going to take second place. They bolstered their defense this season by adding, who did they add? Brendan Dillon. I think they might have traded for Brendan Dillon. And then they added Nate Schmidt as well. So they added some heaviness and they added some experience on their defense. It's much better than it was last season, 2 seasons ago. And they still made the playoffs. I mean, so they're going to be a really, really good team this year. They're explosive offensively. They can play any style you want. They can play a heavy game. They can play a fast game. They're a really good team. And then you can't bet against Connor Hellebuck. Man's a freaking god in net. So I don't know. Winnipeg just seems like a good place. Second place seems like a good place for Winnipeg. They could be third. They could be a wild card. This division's so stacked. I mean, who even knows? In third place, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Minnesota Wild. I don't know why. That's probably gonna be a bad pick in hindsight. But they're an exciting ass team. And Kirill Kaprizov, $1 million Kirill, $9 million Kirill now. Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. That man is insane at hockey. And they're just now they're gonna miss some leadership in Suter and Parise. But Parise was scratched for most of the season, or not most of the season, most of the postseason. They made the postseason. Yeah, they made the postseason last year. And Suter is old. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think they have a very good chance of making the playoffs. They're kind of just going to do what they always do. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be probably shit on in the first round. By, who did I say, Winnipeg? Oh, remember that series from a couple years ago? I want this even more now. They hate each other. Anyway, wild card. So, this is tough to call for the first wild card. Because I could see Chicago being the first wild card. I could see Dallas being the first wild card. Really, the only team I don't think is going to go to is for sure not going to the playoffs in the Central Division is Arizona. They're ass. They're just really bad. I don't know what else to say about that. They're not a good team. I think I'm going to throw Dallas in the first wild card. They didn't make it last year. They had a lot of COVID issues last year. They had a lot of they had a lot of injury issues last year, and they still almost made the playoffs. They missed because I think the Predators beat them twice, or beat them once, or something like that at the end of the season. With that, they're going to have most of their players come back. I think the only player who's not coming back, no, most of them coming back, and they added Ryan Suter on defense. They re-signed Mira Heiskanen. Their injured players from last year coming back. Ben and Sagan will be back. They'll just be in top form, and they're going to be very hard to play against. It'll be very defensively difficult to play. And yeah, they're just a solid team all around. They could take the third spot, E2. I mean, them and Minnesota probably interchangeable as well. But I'm just mostly just for the rivalry. I want to see Winnipeg and Minnesota, so I'm sticking with that. So the second wild card, or the first wild card, will come out of the Central Division, and it will be Dallas. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going with. Okay, the third wild card. It can be left up to, that's 4. Nashville, Chicago, St. Louis, and not Arizona because they suck. So I don't think St. Louis is going to be that good this year again. I don't think Jordan Binnington's that good. I think he'll have a rebound season. I definitely don't think he'll be as bad as he was last year. I don't think the team will be as bad as they were last year. But I believe one of their players retired. Another one of their players retired. So I'm a bit iffy on the Blues, if I'm being honest. Chicago has one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League now, and Marc-Andre Fleury. They got both the Jones brothers, Caleb and his brother, whose name I can't remember. But no, it is Caleb. It's Seth. Seth and Caleb. Seth is the really good one. Seth is the one who signed for $9 million. Seth and Caleb Jones, which will add some, I would imagine, chemistry to the back end. They got rid of Duncan Keith. He's old, so it is what it is. Kane's obviously Kane. If Kane is Kane, I mean, he's going to be good. Jonathan Toews should be back this season, at some point in the season. And I don't know, man. They're a solid team. They'll be very hard to out, mostly because Marc-Andre Fleury is a god, and he will keep them in games. But outside of their big guys, there's not much there. I mean, they're a young, exciting team. I will give them that. They're very hard to play against. The Predators had tons of issues with them last year. And let's talk about the Predators. The Predators traded Ryan Ellis and Victor Arvidsson this season, so that's something. But they got Philip Meyer, Cody Glass, Mikhail Granlund came back. Pekka Rinne is gone. Dave Rittich has come in to play as the backup, and this is for UC Saros' first season as really the number one. Philip Tomasino should make the opening night roster. It's looking like Igor Afanasyev's going to make the team, which, I mean, I didn't expect it, but the one game I watched him in against the Lightning, he freaking lit up the net. I believe he scored 2 goals in that game. I think he's got that many. Philip Forsberg. The Forsberg-Johansson-Duchesne line is having insane chemistry in the preseason, but I know it's preseason, but, like, that's a good sign. That means Johansson and Duchesne will score this year. We need that. I think they had a combined, 15 goals last season. Duchesne had 6, I think Johansson had 7. Yeah, 13 goals. That's even less. And for what they're paying them, they should not be doing that. And with Forsberg, I think he has 5 points in the games he's played in the preseason, which leads the team. And he's pretty much going to be relied upon as the one goal scorer on the Predators. Unless Tomasino comes in and plays really well, and if Eli Tolvanen can do what he did last year on the power play, this team will be awesome on the power play. The penalty kill still needs some work, but it ended the season really well last year. If that all can come together and they become this really nice, fun, exciting team, I think they can do what the Wild did last year, sneaking in the playoffs. But they have to win in the first round. They need to break that ceiling. They're starting to turn into the Leafs in that sense. But I digress. So to me, Chicago and Nashville are going to be vying for that last spot. And biasly, I'm going to put Nashville there. I think UC Saros is an insane goalie. Is he better than Marc-Andre Fleury? I don't know. He's younger. And we have a better backup goalie, in my opinion. I mean, Chris D'Elia was Chris D'Elia? No, that's the comedian. Colin D'Elia. That's who it is. Colin D'Elia, he's a decent backup. He's a good backup. I mean, you could split the games, but I think Marc-Andre Fleury is going to play most of the games. Same with Dave Rittich. You could split it with UC Saros 50-50, but I think UC's probably going to end up playing 60 games. Rittich is a good backup to have, and he is intense. Did you watch that Leafs All or Nothing? He takes pucks to the head just to get him in the mood. Anyway, sorry, I'm probably screaming into my mic. Point is, I'm biasly going to put the Predators there because no one else is. No one believes in the Nashville Predators. But I think with Tomasino, Afanasyev, and Tolvanen and Forsberg going, those are 4 scoring threats. And I think Cody Glass could definitely add to the scoring depth. I think he'll kind of play a Calle Yardcroak role. And Mikhail Granlund's back. He was really good at the end of the season last year. Finally, this team might actually have scoring. It's been a long time. Even in the year they went to the Cup Finals, they didn't score that much. So, rundown in the Central Division. Man, this is going to be a longer video than I expected. I'm already at 19 minutes. Rundown in the Central Division, I got first place Colorado, second place Winnipeg, third place Minnesota, fourth place, or wild card number 1, Dallas, wild card number 2, Nashville.
The old abandoned Leary helmet's a pretty nice spot. A pretty nice spot for what?
I think we need to leave. This phantom-like creature.
I think our group can handle that.
now to the Eastern Conference. We're going to start with the Atlantic Division. Okay, the Atlantic Division. Another stacked division. First place, Florida Panthers. What? Yeah, Florida Panthers. My biggest concern for the Florida Panthers is goaling. Goalieing is in net. Damn. If Spencer Knight can be what he was last year at the end of the year, then I think they have a good shot at doing this. And if Bobrovsky can even be a resemblance of what he was at any point in Columbus, I think they have a shot. I mean, if they could launch 2-goalie system, I think Bob might end up being the backup. That's a $10 million backup. That's crazy. Anyway, and then Sasha Barkov just re-signed for a hefty amount of money, but he deserves way more than that. $10 million was a haircut for that man. Solid defense. They have Sam Bennett again. They hate the Lightning. I'm going to watch every single Lightning Panthers game if I can. Damn, it's just going to be a really good team again. So I'm going to give them first place. That's crazy. Second place, Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto! I think we'll probably have 4 out of this division, 4 out of the Metro. It's going to be tough. But the Eastern Conference is really good. Toronto is going to come in second place because they can't not. I mean, they have to. All right? They have to do it. The only question for me is goaltending. They're old and unreliable. It's Peter Mrazek and was it? I don't remember who the other one is. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's Jack Campbell. Duh. Anyway, Peter Mrazek and Jack Campbell. Mrazek is so up and down, it's not even funny. He was injured for most of last season. It was mostly up, so maybe that'll continue this season. And then near the end of the season, it'll go down. But Jack Campbell's extremely reliable. It's the Carolina Hurricanes who have unreliable goaltending. Anyway, I don't know. I think they are really good. I think they have good depth. I think they have good defense, which is weird to say. I think they're young. I think they're exciting. I think they're explosive on offense. I think they can probably shut down any team on defense. They just need to get the confidence. You know? That's all they need is confidence. And if you watch the Leafs All or Nothing series, it's Sheldon Keefe knew. They just need some confidence. And for Steve Dangle's own mental stability, come in second place and get past the first round, Toronto. I believe in you. Third place. Toronto's going to hate me. No, I'm kidding. It's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's going to come in third place. They're going to do what they did last season and underachieve and then go all the way to Stanley Cup Finals and win. No, I didn't say that. I'm not predicting that. Anyway, they're going to come in third place. They're not as good as they were last year, even though they won the Stanley Cup last year. But when they were their best team in the regular season, they got curb stomped by the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, does it really even matter who's better? It does not. So, I don't know. They still have Andrei Vasilevsky. They still have their core, except Tyler Johnson. I think they're still going to do really good. I don't know. They might three-peat. We'll find out. But yeah, I think they come in third. There's not much you can say about the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're just going to come in third for some reason, in my head. I don't know. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun series. The blue and white series, Toronto versus Tampa Bay. Anyway, next... and then the wild card, in my opinion, is going to probably be the Boston Bruins. Why wild card? They've gotten better. They added Eric Howla. They re-signed Taylor Hall. They signed Nick Foligno. I don't know. It's a good division. Someone's got to come in fourth. And I think it's going to be Boston. They added good depth, like some good scoring depth. Eric Howla, with the way he ended the season last year with the Nashville Predators, will come in handy in the playoffs of the Boston Bruins, especially if they end up playing the Florida Panthers or if they end up playing whoever comes in first in the Metro. But I digress. There's still going to be a really, really good team. This is a really, really tough division. So yeah. Yeah. So, let's run it down. The Atlantic Division, we have number 1, the Florida Panthers. Number 2, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 3, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the wild card, number 1, we have the Boston Bruins to the Metro Division. I know you're a sports nerd. That's why you're here. But are you a nerd? Like, you like Marvel and Star Wars? Well, I got the show for you. Chip Roasting with Wally and Brennan premieres every other week on Monday nights at 8 o'clock p.m., or at least close to it. And on that show, we talk about news in the nerd world, and we talk about whatever shows going on in the nerd world, and movies that are going on in the nerd world. So, if you want to listen to that, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Music, we are on Google Play, and we are on YouTube. So go check out Chip Roasting, the podcast. Again, another really freaking tough division. Okay. Number 1, the New York Islanders. For some reason. I don't know. They're good. They're a really good team. They were able to re-sign Kyle Palmieri, Zajac. Zajac retired as a Devil. He did a one-day contract, retired as a Devil, which is cool. I mean, he was good, decent for them in the playoffs. I believe he was a healthy scratch, though, for most of it. And then when he needed to come in, he came in and he did it. They re-signed who they needed. They signed Parise. He's finally there. And there was someone else they signed, but I don't remember who it was. It was Zdeno Chara, dipshit. I don't remember, to be honest with you. Doesn't matter. I thought they signed someone else. I can't find anything. But anyway, they'll be solid. They're solid every year. They'll make a nice run to the Eastern Conference Finals again. New York Islanders. And second place. What do I got in second place? Washington. They're good. I don't think they're as good as they were last year, but Alexander Ovechkin, and they have their goalies back, even though they lost one in the expansion, they got him back. So I don't know. I think they're good for second place at minimum. I don't think I want to expand anymore on that. In third place, Carolina Hurricanes. Now, third place. Yes, third place. I think Carolina Hurricanes are going to have a up and down season. Like I said earlier, their goaltenders are iffy at best. Freddie Anderson is injury prone and did not have a great season last year. And Antti Raanta is injury prone every season. I swear he's injured. So we'll see. For some reason, they decided to sign the guy on the Rangers who his teammates hated. I didn't understand half the moves the Carolina Hurricanes made this season, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I still think they're a really good team. They lost Dougie Hamilton. What? I know. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Still think they're a good team. They still have a very solid back end, very solid forward group, which they added Jesperi Kotkaniemi to, $6 million deal. They did an offer sheet, so that was a fun adventure for a week. And then what happened next? They proceeded to lose their goalie of the future. So whatever. It is what it is. And, yeah, so they'll come in third place. And finally, the wild card, off the board, the New York Rangers. No, that's not that off the board. I think the New York Rangers are going to make it. I think the Devils have a shot at, going for it as well. That's just my bias, honestly. The Rangers picked up their ace to deal with not Colin Wilson. No one needs to deal with Colin Wilson. He retired. To deal with Tom Wilson, with Ryan Reeves, even though he got injured during a Devils game by PK Subban, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so I think they're going to be a solid team. Adam Fox is amazing. They still have Mika Zibanejad, who is amazing. They got Sammy Blais, who's a good depth forward. They got rid of Pavel Buchnevich, which is fine, but, I mean, Alexis Lafreniere should be good this year. Who's the other guy that they got right after Jack Hughes? I don't remember. But he should be better this year. All around, they're a good, young, exciting team. Yeah, as for the Devils, they got Dougie Hamilton this season. They got, really their biggest issue is not the Devils. And you know what? I think they're a really good team. They're a really young, exciting team. I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And I think the Rangers are, as much as I hate to say it, as a Devils fan. So, let's do the rundown. We have, in this division, we have the Islanders, the Capitals, the Hurricanes, and the Rangers. Wow, I really discounted the Penguins, didn't I? Wow. Crazy. Like I said, this is way too early predictions. Out of all that, let's take Colorado out of the Central. Vegas out of the Pacific, New York Islanders out of the Metro, and Tampa Bay out of the Atlantic. No, Toronto out of the Atlantic, because, like I said, you need to win for Steve Dangle's sake. And then for the Stanley Cup Final, it's take Colorado and Toronto. Colorado wins it in 6. All right. So that's it. That's my Way Too Early Stanley Cup prediction. I hope you enjoyed this very long video. It's actually not even that long. And I hope to see you in another one. So if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. I will have more content coming in the coming weeks. There's a lot to come. So follow me in places. Mostly just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Peace!